We are alive!
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Is anybody out there?
Let's see some
Oh, good evening, friends. I see Minnesota has checked in. St. Louis, another one in St. Louis. You should be friends. Oregon, Virginia, two in Virginia. Hello, Melissa and Justin and Carrie and Jeanette. Heather in Minnesota. It's a whole international array of lovely people. Amherst, Ohio. Hello, Mike. Hello, Matt. Hello, Roberta. Hello, Peter. We see you trickling on to the live stream.
Hello, Nashville.
Oh, well, it's Friday night again. And you know what that means? It means we have gotten through the week.
Yeah.
Which is no small feat. So, hello to all of you, and congratulations on getting through the week. It's an accomplishment.
Yes, well done, everyone.
We thank you all so much for joining us once again. This is week 14 now of this ritual,
14.
this sacred tradition.
Hmm.
And those of you who were with us last week may remember that our show last week was a fundraiser. We wanted to report back on that. Through all of your generosity, we were able to raise over $700, which we donated to 3 different bail funds last week. We donated $240 each to the COVID bailout NYC, and the Bail Project, and the Louisville Community Bail Fund. So thank you all so much for making that happen. It was a nice way to spend last week making that happen. We also have a special thank you to Shauna McGinnis.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Check it out.
Show.
She gifted us these incredibly cool steampunk pins, and you too could get steampunk jewelry through Shauna's Etsy. Hinge person Dan, if you wouldn't mind throwing up the Etsy link. Now, some of you have noticed that I'm in a different location this week. It's an undisclosed location, and we will not discuss it at this time, but perhaps later. Those of you who've been joining us every week, and those of you who are just joining us may know that this is a donation-based show, which means if you're in a position to donate toward our music and the continuation of this show, we sure appreciate it. Hinge person Dan just shared some links in the comments. And if you're financially stressed, then this show is our gift to you.
Yes, and we want to thank you again just for showing up and being here this evening so we can all just get together and bask in each other's company. And basking. All
right, well, I think we need to start with our tarot draw and get this show started. Tonight's card is the 6 of Cups. Just gonna put it up close to the camera so you can see this touching scene involving flowers and
cups.
Cups.
And 2 children, 2 innocents.
Now, I want to tell you about one of my favorite things. It's called dark forest honey. Now, when you think of honey, you know that it comes from bees. And the bees get nectar from flowers, like the ones in the card. And they digest it and transform it, transmutate it into honey. But there's this stuff called dark forest honey. I have some of it, in fact.
Oh, that's why you're in the kitchen.
And forest honey. Now, it doesn't say exactly what the origin of this kind of honey is. On the back in tiny print, it says, a specialty honey from coniferous and deciduous forests with strong, spicy taste.
Why is it so strong and spicy?
Well, also, let's think about this for a second. What don't coniferous trees have? It's flowers. So where are the bees getting nectar from? And the answer is, there are tiny insects that suck the vital essences out of the tree leaves, like aphids, and they secrete these vital essences or the sugars from it. Because they don't need the sugars, they need some other stuff that's in there. And what they excrete is called honeydew, and other insects like to eat it, as we talked about last week.
Right. Ants like to eat it.
Ants like to eat it, sure.
Ladybugs.
No, ladybugs eat the aphids.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're like carnivorous.
Well, they must, yeah.
Anyway, the bees eat the honeydew, and then they turn that into honey, and that is what dark forest honey is. It is a double distilled insect waste product, or waste / food product.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something sweet that comes from something disgusting. It's something beautiful that comes through a process that seems horrifying if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is our theme this week, is transmutation of horrible insect goo into delicious, sweet, regenerative goo. I'm gonna just eat a little bit of this. Look, it's like...
You know, in Egyptian mythology, there's the scarab, which is a dung beetle, which similarly eats a low waste product and exalts that.
It is spicy.
Mm.
Right.
I wish I had some.
And with that, Jeff, I think it might be time for you to play a song.
Is it time?
I think it's time.
Oh, can I? Do you have a tuner I could borrow?
Oh, sure. Catch.
Okay. Oh. Wow. Thank you. Just do a quick tune.
Thank you for the makeup compliment. I mean, is any honey vegan, really?
Okay, you ready? Everyone ready?
I'm ready.
Take a walk through the garden. Now the waxing moon is high. Gather up the pale night blossoms to quell your heart's desire. Say the words long forgotten. Blow the smoke and fan the fire. Circle
all the secrets, but you can glean the truth. What's the beyond good and evil? Burn the leaves and eat the fruit. Hellbore and Dane, Mandrake, Moonshade, Hemlock, Wormwood, Foxglove, Monk's Blood, Milkweed, Snakewood, Milk Tree, Bloodroot, Angels, Trumpet, Poppy, Death's Cup, Hellbore, Hendane, Mandrake, Moonshade, Hemlock, Wormwood, Foxglove, Monk's Blood, Milkweed, Snakewood, Yew Tree, Bloodroot, Angels, Trumpet, Poppy, Death's Cup.
It's me. I'm here.
How did you get
I
here?
don't know. I was somewhere else, and then suddenly I was here.
You were called.
I was called.
She's here.
So we've been talking about the timing of potting up our households for a while now. We are both still social distancing generally, but our two households have about the same risk and exposure level. Basically, nobody goes outside or does anything. So we made a
So we joined
kind
up.
of... Yeah, we joined up.
We joined up, as they say in
Yes.
Spinal Tap.
So what that means for you all is that we will be taking some requests tonight in addition to your questions. As always, if you need advice, information, misinformation, we are here for that. But it means a lot to us to get to be doing this again.
Yes.
Hence our elaborate chicanery at the top of the show.
It wasn't that elaborate.
It's magic.
It was magic. It's not chicanery.
So yes, we invite your song requests and we invite your questions.
Yes.
And we're gonna play another song.
Yeah. Oh man, this is great.
I know. I think you could take those out for now. And then we'll put them back in when it's time.
When it's time.
For our
What are we playing?
lilies.
Oh yeah, great.
Phosphorescent lilies on the surface of the water, forming floating constellations round the caravan. Egyptians ruled the marshlands, they can read them like the lines that trace the future in the creases of your palm. They might not let us go, but we'll be royalty. The queen adopts her prisoners into the ancient clan. If we submit to their initiation rites, or we survive, they'll make us part of all their secret plans. They say, if you want to stay, there is a price to pay, a sacrifice to make. What will you cast away? Cast away. Round the circle goes a flask, and hand to hand the pipe is passed, until we almost can't remember who we are. Fireflies conspire with the lanterns on the fishing boats to let us float among the drunken stars. We didn't mean to come
come here, but we never want to go back home. The children throw a silver after every song. We'll learn to ply the waterways and serenade the cormorants. We'll roll our cuffs and let our hair grow long. They say, if you want to stay, there is a price to pay, a sacrifice to make. What will you cast away?
They say,
Would you give up your pinky finger?
stay.
The roof above your head?
Pay.
Your great-great-great-grandmother's wedding ring? Or
May.
your comfortable bed?
They say,
Would you lose that precious memory
stay.
of your first true love?
Hey.
Your house, your home, your family,
May.
your faith in God above,
They say,
a tooth, an eye, a
want
kidney,
to stay.
your future
There's a
unborn
price
babe,
Hey.
the last 10 years of your short life.
May.
What will you cast away? Cast away. Crickets chirp and nightjars sing as fiddle bows meet fiddle strings. The music's in a tongue we don't yet understand. Jasmine blooms intoxicate. The choice was never ours to make. We're dizzy, but we know we're safe. We're dizzy, but we know we're safe.
We know we're safe.
We know we're safe. We're dizzy, but we know we're safe. We know we're safe. We're dizzy, but we know we're safe. We're dizzy, but the dancers smile and take us by the hand.
Love to Alicia and Lee and Eva and Liditz.
Hey guys.
And love to the Spirit Room Rochester, who are doing we helped them start a fundraiser. They got burglarized a few days ago. So if you check them out, you can, on Facebook, you can pitch into their...
It's an occult themed
It's an
cocktail bar.
occult-themed cocktail bar in Rochester.
It's one of our
very-
favorite places on earth.
Now we have some questions and comments. I'm just, it's funny. We've gotten very used to doing this from 2 locations, so we can kind of go through the comments when the other person is playing.
Yeah. Make the screen big.
Oh yeah,
Let's just make it big. This thing.
Okay. I'm trying. I'm
There we
working.
go.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that's better.
That's
Okay.
good.
Now let's see. There's some questions. Melissa asks, what song or songs would you like to do a cover of? We're actually working on a couple of covers right now. We're working on a cover of Love Song by The Cure, which is not a complicated song, but the phrasing is different every verse. So sometimes it's whenever I'm alone with you, and sometimes it's whenever I'm alone with you, and sometimes it's
Whenever I'm
alone with you. Yeah, so we're trying to be like super faithful to that. And we're also working on Seven Nation Army by
Nation Army.
White Stripes.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Now that we are rehearsing together again, we can actually get good at playing those.
practice those.
Yeah. We have some song requests. I see Ghost Story, Artichoke, Ragnarok, Infernal Soiree. The piano songs are gonna have to wait.
Yeah, no piano songs this time.
How is the mustache in person? Asks Justin. That's a great question.
Oh, good question.
It's pretty bushy. It's like been trimming it, I guess.
Yeah, we'll talk more about the mustache.
Yeah,
during the mustache report.
We'll get to that. Laura, we don't know about Grizzly Adams, but
I love Grizzly Adams.
Sorry if our harmony caused any disasters. When will we play Anywhere next? It's a mystery. It's a mystery. Oh, Mike Goggins says we should do a Breeders cover. That is a good idea, Mike.
Good choice.
Oh, Peter's a very important question. How is corduroy made? So you start with velvet, and velvet is it's like extruded from certain plants. It just comes out in like a sheet, and then you have to take a comb or like a fork, and you have to like have a really steady hand. Oh yeah, like a mustache beard comb like that is good, and you just kind of like you comb it until, and then you have to set it with a kind of spray. Yeah.
When was it invented?
1597.
I don't believe you. But probably around.
All right, no, you're right. It's much older than that because the ancient Egyptians had a sort of like version of it, but it was made a little differently. It's out of papyrus. I'm glad we got to talk about that.
Yes, it's the clothes of kings. Isn't that where it comes the name? Corduroy.
Yep.
Anyway.
All right. So that song we just played is called Phosphorescent Lilies, and we have some very exciting news about that, which is if you've been longing to play that in the privacy of your own home on a ukulele or guitar.
Everything is done in the privacy of your own home now.
Yeah, it's true. We made sheet music, and it has notes and words and chords and this beautiful cover image by Jeff Ritchie, who is Fred Paints on Instagram. And Hedge Person Dan, if you would share Jeff Ritchie's link as well as the sheet music link is up there. So if you are looking to support this show through a merch purchase, that is our latest offering in the merch department. Yes. Whose house are we at, Ellie or Jeff's? Neither. This is an undisclosed location, but it is also our rehearsal studio.
Yeah,
our office.
More about that later.
Yeah, more about that later.
We'll get to it. Good question.
Yeah, these are all good questions, and we welcome them. You want to play another song?
Sure do.
All right, let's play another song, and then we have a very exciting thing after that. What are you drinking?
Just water right now.
Okay.
But
Cool.
I have a cocktail ready.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk about that. Oh, we haven't practiced this one.
No.
No. Okay.
Years.
Great. Yeah. All right. Everything breaks down eventually. It's all just a matter of entropy. Thermodynamics and gravity. We're all gonna fall in the end. When you play the record, the needle gets dull. It's tragically irreversible. You know some erosion's inevitable when you rub up against the world. You're locked in a box, try to hold your breath, conserve what remains of the air that's left. If you don't breathe, you'll smother yourself, but every inhale brings you closer to death. Everything breaks down eventually. We're all decomposing gradually into atoms and cells and vanity. All our constituent parts. You can't make sparks
without friction, or music, or love, or non-fiction. That's just the price of admission. You can't ride the ride without wearing it out. You're locked in a box, try to hold your breath, conserve what remains of the air that's left. If you don't breathe, you'll smother yourself, but every inhale brings you closer to death. Chaos is gonna win in the end. The universe is flying apart. There ain't nothing much you can do about it. Burn up the candle or live in the dark. Burn up the candle or live in the dark. Burn up the candle or live in the dark. Burn up the candle or live in the dark.
That was a String Break song. Now, we talk a lot about science in that song, and I feel like, can we get rid of this? Can we take
Yeah,
it down?
this
It's
is
so
just a-
dark. It's just
this was
bumming
just
me
a-
out. Oh, okay.
Just a hoax.
It's just a hoax.
It was just a decoy.
Okay. So we talk a lot about science in this song and on this show, and we thought that it would give us some credibility if we brought an actual scientist onto the show to talk with us about some science things. And we are so excited to introduce you to our friend, Dr. Lucianne Walkowicz, astrophysicist extraordinaire.
Hello. It is I, an actual
Now
scientist.
in our earpieces so we can hear you.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Lovely to see you. I am not in the same undisclosed
Can you
location.
hear her?
A
Okay.
different
I can't.
undisclosed
Oh, okay,
location.
thanks.
Here.
Okay.
You hear me?
It's true, you're not in the same room.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Hold on.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
Now we can hear. But we are so glad you could join us this lovely evening.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for these
Oh.
beautiful songs and the wonderful reveal of you two being in the same place.
We were playing the long game on that one
Yeah.
for a while.
Like 12, 14 weeks.
We're going to talk about some science things, but before we do that, can you tell us about the incredible artwork that's behind you?
Yes. So I have two incredible artworks behind me. So this one over here is by an artist that I really love. She goes by Aleia, Aleia. And you can find her on Instagram. She does tons of really beautiful dioramas involving snails, sometimes frogs. But
Amazing.
as you will learn in a bit, I look for aliens. And so I really enjoy this snail being abducted. And this is just a random painting of some planets that my brother gave me once.
Excellent.
I also really enjoy it.
That is delightful. So you have some rather unusual interests for an astrophysicist. It seems to me, in that I know a lot of circus aerialists who do aerial artistry, but I don't know a lot of them who are also science doctors like yourself. When did you start studying aerial?
I guess about 6 years ago now. Yeah, it was when I think I took I had like taken a class or two here or there, but I think seriously about 6 years ago. Yeah.
And what is your favorite apparatus to do aerial on?
That at the moment, I feel like I am so deprived from any apparatus that I would literally do anything to hang from the ceiling. I started on silks, and I really love silks, and was just before quarantine started working on an act on them again. I think they're probably my favorite. I also do lyra, and being grounded at the moment is leading me to juggling and hula hoops and all the things you can do, handstands.
I'm so sorry. It's driven you to juggling.
What's wrong with juggling?
Nothing.
Juggling is
Nothing's wrong with
perfectly
juggling.
fine.
No, it's perfectly normal.
Do you incorporate any of your science into your routines, or is there any crossover at all?
Occasionally. So I don't know if you shared it, but you might have. I did a piece called 40 Orbits that was an act. It's actually not intended to be a live act. It was intended just to be a video piece. But it was essentially about sort of the passage of time as being also a physical space. So the Earth goes around the sun and carves out this like physical path, which we often think of as a circle, but the sun and the solar system is actually moving. So it's actually a helix, like a spiral. And, like there's a lot of movements like that, particularly in lyra. So it was sort of a life, a little bit of a life story in progress, based on like, it was my 40th birthday, the year that I made it. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Cool.
And we just shared some links for the Just Space Alliance, which I know is something that you are closely involved in. Can you just tell us a little bit about that so people know what it is?
Yeah, so Just Space Alliance is a organization that I co-founded with my friend Erica Nesvold, who's also she's an astronomer turned game developer now. So she works for a company called Universe Sandbox. Our role is essentially to advocate for more inclusive and ethical futures in space. So, folks like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk have very big microphones and very big wallets, and very big followings. But we had discovered that lots of other people were interested in maybe space and the future should not be totally dictated by like white capitalist billionaire men.
Yep.
Yeah. Wild. What a wild idea.
Totally radical, right?
All right. Well, we would love to hear some about your work with aliens, as you have promised to tell us about earlier. And we want to let our viewers know that if they have questions for you about aliens, or I guess snail abduction by aliens, that they should ask about that. But we're going to give you the floor, and we're really excited to hear about some of what you've been working on.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you so much again for having me. Thank you everybody for joining. This has been really fun to experience the show. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about what's happening in the search for aliens. So, aliens are kind of like this thing that is super embedded in pop culture. A thing you can ask me about that I won't be talking about yet, but I'll tell you a little bit about my work, and then you can ask me if you want, is I actually went to Storm Area 51. So I can tell you about it. Yeah, I did. I stormed Area 51. So I'm very interested in the search for life in the universe. I'll start by saying that unfortunately we haven't found any yet. Yes, the universe should certainly not be monopolized, period, by anyone. The search for alien life, I think oftentimes, if you've seen the movie Contact that came out, I think in the late 90s, if you haven't seen it, it's really great. It has Jodie Foster in it, and she uses these radio dishes to intercept sounds from alien life beyond Earth. And I won't spoil it for you, but she succeeds in doing so, and that's not the full story, so it's not a spoiler. It literally happens in the beginning. That's actually based on a real person. She's a woman named Jill Tarter, and she is one of the key scientists in what's called SETI, or the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. So for many years, SETI has used radio waves to look for life in the universe. And one of the big challenges, right, is that we don't actually know anything about life in the universe, except for the life that's here on Earth. So, you know, even when we, there are people actually who work on like whale communication and studying animal communication in the hopes of understanding like how other species, even here on this planet, like transmit information to each other. But having said that, you know, you can't actually have like a direct, like person-to-person conversation with a dolphin, right? So this is very challenging. And people have tried to like guess what aliens might do and what kind of signals they might send into the world. And part of the reason that radio waves are really popular as a way of searching for aliens is that we use them for communications here on Earth. And so by extension, we might be able to find signals like that, which they go by this sort of funny name, techno signatures. So it's the signature that there's technologically advanced life, so not just any life. But the problem is we don't know what aliens would do. So it's kind of hard to guess what another intelligence would do in the way of building technology, using technology, how they would communicate, et cetera. And one of the things about the way we communicate even is that, you know, by and large, all our communications goes over like fiber, like cable fiber. So the internet, even though it comes to you via wireless, probably wherever you are, is mostly that information is traveling to you over wired networks. And that means that we as a planet, while we used to be sort of radio noisy, and that like you might imagine that an alien looking at us with radio dishes might be able to hear us in space, so to speak. We actually get quieter the more technologically advanced we get. So, you know, that tells you that kind of over like 100-year time span, which is not very long in the history of the universe, technology changes. And so your ability to detect other aliens might too. So what I do is something a little bit different. And I think I am one of 2 or 3 people in the world that does this, is I use something called machine learning to look for signatures of alien life. And machine learning sounds very like fancy. So if you like do a Google image search on machine learning, you get all kinds of terrible looking corporate graphics of like robots with like information coming out of their heads, like ones and zeros and stuff. Not super accurate. So machine learning is a bunch of computer algorithms that are used actually in your everyday life, even though you're probably not aware of it. So anytime you like make a purchase or you like browse online, if you do so in a way that like, you know, companies can track what you're clicking on or buying, all of that data gets stored by the things you interact with, whether it's, you know, advertisers or internet companies. And they use machine learning algorithms to detect and find and understand patterns in data. And for you, the reason that this affects your life is that that affects, for example, what coupons you get in the mail. So not only like, you know, we've all probably had the experience of seeing an ad that suddenly pops up on something that you've been searching on or even talking about if you use voice features on your phone. But, you know, all of that stuff is informed by these algorithms working in the background. Now, in the search for alien life, the kind of idea behind this is that since we don't know what aliens would do, I missed the last part of that comment. Oh, hey, I will be happy for that. That would be amazing. I would love a charming disaster song about aliens. So what we do instead is we use these machine learning algorithms to just look for the weirdest stuff that's in the data. So right now, like tons of telescopes all over the world are just doing their normal things. They're doing plain old vanilla astrophysics, like looking at stars, looking at distant galaxies, collecting all that data. And what I do is I kind of take all of that and I use these machine learning algorithms to mine that data for the strangest things that you can find. That doesn't mean that the strangest thing you can find will necessarily be aliens, but to me, it's kind of a complementary way of looking for signals that we wouldn't expect and that might be actual signals from alien life without having to guess what they are ahead of time. So I will be sure to let you know. Like, this is one reason why like aliens cannot possibly have already been found, because like scientists have the biggest mouths in the entire world. And so we, like, if we find aliens, believe me, like I will call you guys first. But yeah,
we appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll have you on the show.
Yeah. It'll be like breaking news. We'll like hacking your show. But yeah,
I want the scoop.
Yeah, the scoop, exactly. News from the alien front. Is there a planet that would be most likely to have an alien life form? That's a great question, Melissa. So the focus in astronomy for the past several years has been actually trying to figure out how common planets like Earth might be. So Earth is big to us, but it's relatively small compared to a lot of other planets. And for many years, it was very, very difficult to find planets that were sort of the size of Earth or Mars or Venus, the kinds of places that we might expect to find life. So in the past 10 years now, there was this mission that I worked on called NASA's Kepler mission that was a space telescope that went and looked for all of these planets. And they found thousands and thousands of planets. Lots of them are very small, kind of similarly sized to Earth. But the catch is that we don't yet have the technology to be able to figure out whether those planets have atmospheres that we think might be hospitable to life or even host life. So if you take the planets in our solar system, like Earth and Venus and Mars, Earth is a really nice place to live for us. Mars is like kind of crappy, like crappier than the worst place on Earth, whatever you think that is. And Venus is a hellscape. So, you know, those are three places that would look kind of the same if you found them and you only knew like how far away they were from their star and like their size. But you really need to understand their atmosphere, whether to find out whether they would have life or not. But we're very close to being able to do that. What about the, oh yeah, FRBs. So FRB stands for fast radio bursts. And these are very, very quick, like millisecond radio bursts that occasionally repeat. Some of them repeat and some of them don't. And they were a really big mystery because they were found a number of years ago. There were just like a couple known. And then people actually, after they were found actively, people went back and looked through the data sets. And this is what I mean about using data that's already been taken and then looking for stuff in it. They went back and they found a whole bunch more. And it was just that astronomers had been intercepting these like radio bursts and just didn't happen to be looking for them. So they were actually in the archives, but they hadn't really been like found just yet. So now we have a bunch of them. There are a bunch of different things. So one of the strange things about radio astronomy using those dishes is that it is often sometimes difficult to tell where exactly on the sky the signal is coming from. And it's also sometimes hard to tell whether something is coming from an Earth signal. So is it like military radar or is it a radio signal that is coming from space? So in the early days of FRBs, and I mean like 6 years ago, so not like a long time ago at all, a bunch of the FRBs that were found, it turned out they were found by this radio telescope called the Parkes telescope. And it was discovered that they were mostly found around noon while the Parkes telescope dish was pointing in the direction of the visitor center. And it turned out that when you use the microwave and you don't wait for it to complete and you open the door, little tiny bits of microwaves get out. Yes, exactly. It was the microwave. So some of them are from space and then some of them were from the visitor center microwave from impatient astronomers making lunch. But yeah, so they seem to be coming from outside, like very far away, so outside of our galaxy. And we think that they are bursts of radio energy that is happening when stars die. That's the best theory so far, so we're not totally sure, but they do seem to be like very, very distant. And that was the other debate that was happening for a while, is like, okay, so for the ones that aren't coming from the microwave, are they coming from stars nearby, or are they coming from what we call cosmological distances, which means very far away? So it seems like they're very far. They're probably stellar death explosions. Stay tuned.
This
Cool.
is fascinating. We're we're just getting some props.
Oh, thank you.
Was there another question?
There was one. Do you want to take one more question, Lucianne?
Sure.
All right.
Contact. Communication through math. Yes. So that communication through math as a way for interspecies communication, I would say is taken seriously when we think about like communicating with aliens. Like people don't use like communicating through math for like dolphins or anything. Like I guess there was that horse a really long time ago that they thought they were communicating with because the horse was
Mr.
like,
Ed?
Mr. Ed. Yeah.
Mr. Ed was real. Shut up. No, there was that horse that they thought it would like paw a certain number of times with its foot, and they thought they had taught the horse to communicate, and it actually just turned out that the horse was a very good observer of body language, and so it knew it would kind of like paw and like watch the trainer, and then eventually be like, "Oh, I'm done." Yeah.
Get a carrot.
Animals are very intuitive. So the idea of like communication through math, people have used like pulses of like prime numbers, for example. It is definitely taken seriously, but it also suffers from the same problem, which is that you still don't know like even what another intelligence might interpret and how. And mathematical math is sort of like a language that we use to describe relationships in the universe. And so there might be, certain things that are common, but I don't know that I think math is necessarily universal. I think physical laws are universal, but that doesn't mean that there couldn't be other ways of describing them with like systems like math, which is essentially a form of language.
Right.
Cool. This is so. I think Roberta speaks for all of us.
Are you concerned that your machine learning algorithms will gain consciousness, and that will be some sort of intelligent life right there?
I'm not concerned about that for my machine learning algorithms because the ones I use are kind of not very smart. But I mean, like the stuff that I do basically, like I do what's called clustering, which like it kind of discovers natural categories, and I look for things that don't have many things in its natural category. So I look for the loners, called outliers. So, I'm not worried about those. I will say that I think it is totally possible that there might be some sort of like machine consciousness. We don't really even understand consciousness in non-human species or in human
species.
Yeah. But like, how do we conceive of consciousness for, like mushroom networks that are like fungal networks that are entire forests worth and are actually communicating with each other? How do we conceive of consciousness for a group of ants, for example?
Oh my God, we love funguses and ants. We love them so much.
I felt like this was like a fungus and ant crowd,
Totally. Heavy fungus crowd, that's right.
Yes, me too. So, I think the nature of consciousness is still like a very deep mystery, even on this planet. And what constitutes, consciousness, I think is very, it's very compelling. And, so astrobiologists, are people who study life in the universe. And there are people that are working on sort of the theory of what life is. Not me, that sounds very hard. But there are people who work on the question of like, are viruses alive, for example? And for most of human history, we've thought of like life as a very binary thing, like something is alive or something is not alive. And then there's all this other stuff that we know now, like viruses, which can reproduce but can't do so without a host. So like, are they alive or not? It's not really clear, but people are moving towards thinking of livingness as being like a spectrum. So not something is alive or something is just like dead and inert, but maybe there's more of a continuum where we should think about things as viruses as kind of part of a kind of being alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm on board.
Yeah.
It's kind of like being alive.
It's kind of like being
Yeah.
alive.
I feel like I'm kind of alive.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all relate right now to
Yeah.
feeling kind of alive.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
I
just wanted to thank you for
yes.
fielding those questions.
Thank you for having me on the show. And I love the questions. So, if people want to get in touch with me off of the show and ask more questions, that is cool.
Oh yeah, henchperson Dan, would you share Lucianne's social? Oh, he's stepped away for a second. Oh no, he's coming back. We see him. His ghostly presence. If you wouldn't mind sharing Dr. Walkowicz's social media links so that people can follow them on Twitter and Instagram, that would be super cool. Because I find your social media most entertaining.
Thank you.
Yes. We've got some just really
I saw that go by. Are they tiny zombies? I don't know. I feel like you have to have been like legit alive and then died and then come back to be a zombie, right? So
yeah.
So no?
So no.
Yeah. I gave a talk once where it was this very cool format where it was an improv group and they kind of like asked me questions and then hopped up and did sketches like as we were talking. And one of them asked me, if the like sun is going to end at some point, does that mean that the sun was alive? And I was like, well, movies end. And then we all had a funeral for a movie.
Good point. Yeah.
So it's funny that you mentioned the death of the sun, because that one of my early memories is like learning that the sun was going to die someday and feeling this incredible like fear and grief about this thing that was going to happen like millions of years in the future.
Can I tell you an amazing thing about the sun dying though?
Please.
Yeah.
Is it going to turn into a diamond?
Has the date changed?
Well, yeah, sort of. So the fact that another sun, okay, so first of all, you have calcium in your bones and iron in your blood. Many of you probably have like gold or silver jewelry, perhaps.
Or copper in your blood because you have ichor because you're some kind of dragon or something.
Yeah, or that molten copper running through your veins. So all of that was formed in the death explosion of a previous star. So all of it, like none of that stuff can form outside of a star. So the amazing thing about the sun dying to me is that another sun previous to that, billions of years previous to that, had to have died and like spewed its guts all over the universe, at least the local part of the universe, in order for us to exist at all. So, in the future, we will, Matt's brain hurts. Welcome to the club. My brain hurts all the time. But, the fact that happen at all made us and like most other living things on Earth possible. So, all that carbon, that's all from stars too. So we will make another future generation in which we are all intermingled into new forms of life possible when the sun dies. So that kind of seems like a plus, maybe.
Yeah, look on the bright side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like dark forest honey.
Yeah, so something good comes out of it, ultimately. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, we are stardust. I like that.
Yes. Well, I think that is a lovely place to end our visit with you. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been a delight.
So great.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see you both, and such a pleasure to get to talk about this stuff. And thank you all so much for the wonderful questions.
Awesome. All right, we're going to send you away with a dramatic thing. All right, we banish ye. Oh, damn it.
Oh, she's still there.
All right, for real now though.
Okay.
Well, that was fun. They are the coolest.
That is no doubt.
Yeah.
We don't need these.
Oh, yeah. We don't need these
These
anymore.
things.
All right.
Oh.
All right. Well, that was so cool. All right. We've got some.
What do you got there? Oh.
All right. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. There's some Tori Amos talk. All right. Well, I think we should play another song, and I think that we should play our song that concerns people who study and learn and discover. And Lucianne, this one is going out to you this time.
I am a librarian. My mind is a cave. I don't understand how people behave. I'm afraid of some of my parts that seem broken. I make my own costumes, I own my own name. A witch in the wintertime, philosopher, king. I'm not staring at you, I'm considering things. A natural scientist singing my song. Where I am going is where I belong. This is my time, this is my place. Behind the drawn curtain or right in your face. This is my time, this is my place. Behind the drawn curtain or right in your face.
I am a librarian, my tongue is a blade with sharp doubled edges to keep you away. A creature of habit, a half-wild animal, hungry to touch you but also afraid. An orbiting satellite, counting the stars, moving in circles out here in the dark. A prisoner of circumstance, lying awake, waiting the moment I make my escape. This is my time, this is my place. Behind the drawn curtain or right in your face. This is my time, this is my place. Behind the drawn curtain or right in your face. Did I make a crash landing an alien planet? Will others find me in time? Sometimes I think I'm the only one of my kind. I am a librarian, my heart is a fist, my fist in the air in my face. I'm facing my fear is a friend, my friends are beside me, I'm ready for this. I set out the instruments, sought out the signs, it's what I've been studying all of my life. This is my time, this is my place. Behind the drawn curtain or right in your face. This is my time, this is my place. Behind the drawn curtain or right in your face. This is my time, this is my place. Behind the drawn curtain or right in your face.
think that is the closest we will ever get to play that song in conjunction with someone who actually counts stars.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
we're like living the dream.
It's really the machines that count the stars.
Yeah. Oh my. All right, let's see. Peter asks, can we get a tour of the wall pictures?
Oh.
Yeah, we can give you a
Yes.
tour of the wall pictures. Can we like move this? There's a
can
lot of
just
like
take
the-
this off, I think.
okay. Oh, we're not. It's not.
Whoa, magic!
Oh, it turns out we're not actually
Here.
using the webcam at
Here.
all.
We can.
Oh, but we can. Okay. Is it working? Oh,
working?
cool. Oh,
Oh,
that
there it
looks so
is.
much better. Why haven't we been
I don't
working
know.
using that all this time? All right. So let's see. We're gonna start with these photos behind us. These are these big wet format photographs that were shot by Monty McCutcheon, who is kind of a famous NBA referee.
Yeah.
But we know Monty through his daughter County McCutcheon, who's a fan of ours in Asheville, North Carolina. And County got her mom, Terry Sigler, to agree to let us stay at their house when we were playing in Asheville a long time ago. And we became friends with them. And they hosted a house concert for us, and we got to take these amazing photographs with Monty, which was really, really amazing.
Yeah, and we have some bats
Okay,
too.
that's just
Small
they're just bats, small bats.
That's all.
Okay, over here, these are Michael Mao, who's an artist in Lexington, Kentucky, made these cardboard carvings. That's our portrait and a big anatomical heart for a house concert we did in Lexington a few years ago. All right, we've got here. I can't. All right.
I'll hold it.
Okay, I'll tell you. All right, so that's the original artwork for the librarian cover art. That's a voodoo doll and another doll that we were gifted by people on the road. The voodoo doll was from Candace and Danny in Cottage Grove, and the creepy bride doll was from Brian and Katrina in Lexington. There's a bunch of tarot cards. There's the poster art. If you move it up a little bit, we can see the poster art. Okay. So from left to right, that's Magda Boresa's show poster for the Cautionary Tales album, and that's Carolyn Raship's original poster for our first Charming Disaster tour, and that's Logan. I'm blanking on Logan Riley, of course, in Las Vegas, created the poster art for Bride of Frankenstein.
I just also want to point out the clock too.
The floating clock.
My brother Simon's company Flight created this cool
floating clock, and it tells us what phase of the moon we're in. It's really hard to tell with the light on this, but there's light around it. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to the next wall. This is Peter. You asked for this, but it's a long tour because we have collected a lot of amazing artwork. Okay. So that top one with the fox and crow there was created by Natalie in Portland, and it's a little fan art based on our song. What is that song called? Little Blackbird. And below that is a piece of fox and crow art by Bill Crisafi, who did not make it for us. We just loved it, and so we bought it from him at an oddities fair.
Strange.
All right, that's our map of the world and
Japanese saw.
Some more show poster. Oh, look, it's Jeff in the mirror. You can see his pants.
Oh, you can see my...
Yeah, okay. And then that's more Logan Riley art on the top. That's like a weird double overlapping portrait. It's kind of overexposed in that camera, so it's a little hard to tell. It's okay. And then next to that is more Logan art, and below that is an oil painting that Simran Narmis in Portland painted of us while we were performing, and it's on the back of a vinyl record. And he gifted it to us after that show when we went out to the Pacific Northwest, and it took forever to dry. So we had it taped to the dashboard of the rental car for the whole rest of the tour, and it dried in time to fly home.
There's some books.
There's some books. Oh, wait, and we forgot Adrian. Oh, yeah. Adrian made this super cool sugar skull portrait of us. Yes, Adrian from The Lady Comes First.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then we got books and
books.
Instruments, and you should show them the ceiling fixture though.
Oh yes.
Oh, but you can't see it at all because it's an umbrella, but you can't see it because it's
double-headed
the latest one. All right. So thus concludes the studio tour. I hope that was enjoyable.
Yes.
Because there was probably more than you bargained for.
I wanted to point out that animal magnetism book.
Oh yeah. I don't think you should tell them your secrets.
My secret.
Yeah.
Can you scoot over a little bit?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna have to...
Yeah, sure. There's
Thanks.
lots of couch over here.
All right. Cool.
We have not thought of doing that because we are not watching the auto caption, so we have no idea what the auto caption
We
is
hear they're
doing.
funny though.
Yeah, we hear they're good. That's good. All right. You want to play another song?
Yeah.
I think we have time for another song.
Yeah.
Before we end the ritual. There were a couple. There was a request.
Mhm.
We could do that one. That one.
Yes. Let's do
Oh,
that.
but should we do our other stuff first? The thing.
What thing? Oh. Excuse me. Yeah. Let's.
All right. So we will do one more song before we go. But as those of you who are regulars know, we like to do a closing ritual at the end of our weekly show, which is to draw a card from our deck of unicorn oracle cards, which we received in the mail by mistake, but which have been a guiding light to us
Yeah.
this time.
People call it unicoracle.
Nobody calls it that. So I'm gonna shuffle this deck, what remains of it, a little bit. All right.
Yes, Jim. Exactly.
Oh yes! How could we forget? I put it in the set list. Oh, and we forgot to do that song. We were gonna do another song. Well,
It's all
I know,
fine. It's all fine.
everything's fine. All right.
We had
Well,
a lot of.
there was a lot going on
Lot
today.
to talk about.
We're overexcited because of the
Yeah.
being in the same pod again thing.
I know.
All
All
right,
right.
but
I just
let's
wanted to. Yes.
yes.
All right. So it was my birthday recently, and I received some lovely mustache keeping equipment. I have this lovely thing, a comb, which I've been combing every morning. I have some wax.
What kind of wax?
It's called Stronghold Bourbon Wax Fisticuffs.
You're supposed to say it's none of your beeswax.
I don't know, but this is not the beeswax. Along with my own beeswax mustache wax.
That's what's none of
This
my
is-
beeswax.
This is none of your beeswax. And some scissors. So I've been trimming and doing the right grooming now. I have all the right tools. We'll see how long this mustache lasts in its current state. But I think that's it for the
It
mustache
looks
report.
longer on that one side.
I know I don't know why one side is longer than the other. It's just
Yeah, what does it smell like? Not the mustache, but the wax. Although I guess they smell the same.
the one that I made smells like pine and forest resins, and this one, the Stronghold Bourbon Wax, doesn't smell like bourbon. It smells like a nice woodsy vanilla smell, which is fine. And as I've been wearing my mask as I go out, it really holds in the smell of whatever wax that I have. So it's really good. I think that concludes the mustache report. Does anyone have any concerns or questions about my mustache beside that? I think
No, we
we're
have
good.
some. We just have some
Yeah, there's some comments.
equipment. I guess isn't what real people call it. All right, other people like it. Yeah,
Oh, thanks,
I
Josh.
can getting some good feedback.
Yes.
Yeah. We also forgot. We were so overwhelmed with all the fuss of a reunion and
Being in the same room, I
the
get
big
nervous.
reveal.
It's like I'm
Yeah.
not used to other people.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird.
But we did forget to toast you all, so
Yes.
we're gonna toast you
Toast
now
you
that it's at the end. And I invite you all to raise your glasses or flasks or canteens
or urns or whatever you drink out of. You want to show the nice art on the upside there. Cheers.
cheers to you.
Mmm.
Oh, that's good. Which one is that one and which one is this one?
This is Sazerac rye, and that is Old Overholt rye. So they're both ryes.
It turns out I like Old Overholt. It's a good sipping whiskey. All right.
Solid. Okay.
All right. So now we've like fulfilled the.
Thus fortified.
Okay.
Let us
Thus fortified.
move
Let
on.
us move on to the unicorns.
Cheers, everyone. Okay.
All right. Pick a card. Any card.
Oh, I can do this.
Yeah, but I need to show them the. Maybe I'll show them the side,
Yeah,
and then you
and
can
I'll just
pick
be
from
here.
the. Yeah. We have selected the leadership unicorn.
It's duly needed.
It's true. In the small print says, step into your leadership. Share your message. Inspire and empower others. So it's a little bit ambiguous, I feel, because it says step into your leadership and then it says inspire and empower others. Which, I mean, I guess that's like a good leadership style, is to just facilitate
And inspire.
and facilitate others to be empowered by your own leadership.
Well, we need some clarification.
Yeah, we probably need some clarification. Also, I'd like to just point out that this unicorn has a light, like I don't know if it's like a bike light on the front of its horn, but that seems really handy in the forest, probably when it's
Or
dark.
maybe it's to attract fish.
Oh,
so we can eat them.
Yeah, it could be like a predator kind of lure thing.
Lure. Okay. Okay, so now we ask the animals for some further clarification. And here, I'll show the good folks out there
All right.
what's available.
How about this one?
What do we have? Badger spirit.
Badger spirit.
Be fearless and bold. Look at that badger.
Be fearless and bold, which is not different from fearless. It's like saying like be brave and also courageous.
Well, they're, you know,
Be
different words.
modest and also humble.
Yes, yes. Be kind to the animal
And
spirits.
also nice.
Yes,
Okay.
please. You know, in Japan, the badger is the totem of hospitality, and in many restaurants and cafes, you'll see a little badger temple, or I mean, not temple, totem or a statue or something.
Oh,
About-
that's cool.
yes.
I didn't know that. All right, so leadership, hospitality. Invite people in,
Encourage.
empower them, shine your light.
There you have it.
All right, we've made sense of this.
Mhm.
I think we did a good job of that. All right, we're going to end with a little uplifting tune to see you out into the next week. What?
Nothing.
And once again, I'll just a gentle reminder. This is a donation-based show. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider buying some merch or throwing in something into the donation kitty so that we can continue this process.
If you have it,
If you have it. If you don't, then
then
So-
it's fine.
don't
We're
even
just
bother.
glad you're here.
We are. We're very glad. All right.
On that note.
On that note. Maybe the world will fall apart.
Maybe the crows will come and peck away your heart.
Maybe the wolves will eat the moon and the sun.
We won't have to face the consequences of the things we've done.
Axe time, sword time, ere the world fall. Wind time, wolf time, come the end of it all. Nearly doomsday, just look at the clock. Ticking down the minutes until Ragnarok. Ragnarok, 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 Ragnarok. Ragnarok, Ragnarok, rock.
Now that the sky is raining soot,
No need to return all of those late library books
that you read with bated breath.
about the end where even gods can meet their death. World tree tremble, shake at the root, fall before the moment when our bills come due. Cross your fingers for fire and flood. The Valkyries are rushing through the battlefields of blood. The time we spend is not our own. Nothing to have, nothing to hold. And now there's no more growing older. Hang on tight, it's almost over. Midgard serpent is coming for you. Those New Year's resolutions won't be coming true. Go out and buy some cigarettes, cause what the fuck? You might as well enjoy yourself till Ragnarok. Ragnarok, 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 rock.
Maybe we're here to wonder why.
Or watch the stars wink out like candles in the sky.
And as the seas begin to rise,
Let's share this final cigarette and kiss the world good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you so much.
We love you. Let's bring Dr. Walkowicz back up to say good night. And also, thank you so much. And thank you also to henchperson Dan for helping make everything happen behind the scenes. Thanks to all of you so much for tuning in and joining us here. There he is.
There
Look
he
at
is.
him. Oh, just
And he's gone.
And he's gone. Thank you all so much. We love you. We will see you again here next week. And be well, be good to each other, and
Be safe.
and beware, mainly. All right. Oh, we're still here. It's fine. Okay.